Hi, Chris. So thanks for joining us today to discuss some of the new services and products from Cobalt Digital. Before we get started on some of the specifics about what you would have shown at NAB, give us a little bit of an overview for people maybe not familiar with Cobalt as far as what you guys are all about in terms of products and stuff.
Okay, well, Cobalt's been established over 23 years, and we were one of the co-founders of Open Gear. For those people who don't understand or know Open Gear, that's an open frame format for many different manufacturers. And we've been focusing in on that level of technology now for 15 odd years more. So that's our prime focus. We have now, we're in an unusual stage here. In March, we had the record sales bookings and the record sales shipping that the company's ever had.
Right.
You know, in this current environment is odd, but this goes to show that there's a lot of implementation for the future, for trucks and the live events. I know we all know that live events are closed at the moment, but we see a lot of built-up demand coming, and
Sure.
we'll get through this. So that Cobalt is primarily, well, I always like to refer to it as the engine room. We provide, and not the glamorous products. We provide the processing card for signals in, out, conversion, and all those types of necessities.
Right, right. Well, those are important. I mean, obviously you have a lot of formats out there. You have the SDR, HDR worlds kind of coming together. You got the 4K up resolution, up conversion, down conversion. What are you seeing as far as some of those market opportunities as far as those services? I mean, the SDR, HDR conundrum seems to be one of the big trends for when things get going again.
Yes, well, we've already had a lot of success in the HDR production. We were at the French Open. We provide product for the MLB. We are seeing growth at our friends in the truck companies, and we see that as a major move forward. Cobalt offer both static for conversion. We also offer the dynamic conversion, and we also offer intelligent dynamic. So static is where it sits and it does what it does. Dynamic is the end user can actually do the settings and change the settings themselves. The intelligent dynamic is algorithms by our friends Technicolor, which does everything automatically. You do have presets, but cool. So we're seeing that as a major growth.
So I'm guessing there's different price levels. Static is probably the cheapest, right? Because it's probably less flexibility. And
yes.
Yeah. Do you find, because one of the challenges that they all have with HDR is, they obviously have SDR. Most viewers aren't watching in an SDR. So it's not all about SDR to HDR. It's a lot of it is HDR to SDR. So what are you kind of seeing where you roll there?
Absolutely. We learned very early on that's the necessity that they may be transmitting or monitoring it in SDR. They don't all have the HDR capabilities to monitor it, and or sending it out in SDR. So yes, we do the full spectrum from SDR to HDR back to SDR. Let's say on the static, we used BBC LUTs, and we offer the full spectrum.
Right.
And in some of our competitors offer a 1U frame. We offer multiple cards in a 2U frame.
Gotcha. So what do you see as your competitive advantage, I guess, in that market, and specifically in the HDR space?
Well, I think the quality and the partnering with Technicolor, with their using their algorithms, has proved a great benefit for us. So the operator really doesn't have to think too much. When you're in an arena environment and the light is changing, sun's moving around, with the intelligent algorithms, this reads the situation and gives the cameras the response that they require for transmission. So right. That's a huge advantage.
Sure. So before we go, I guess the last thing I want to touch on a little bit is streaming and sort of what that means to your company, because obviously we are in a very streaming heavy environment right now, that is for sure.
We are seeing extreme demands for the streaming products, both in the US and across the world. we're becoming very strong in Southeast Asia, and which parts of it, our friends in China, have always been a growing market for us, and they've come back in the last few weeks tremendously. So we're seeing a lot of requirements for streaming, and for obvious reasons at the moment. I think there's I think there's going to be a whole culture change in the industry and the way we move forward. It's always been coming, but this coronavirus may have brought the change a little bit more rapid, and that we'll be moving much more to streaming. I'm saying the obvious, but that's the way that the world is going.
Sure.
By watching your bandwidth at night.
Right, exactly. Well, Chris, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. I mean, looking forward, obviously, to seeing you at one of our upcoming events. Hopefully that'll be sooner than later.
Okay.
But, stay healthy and safe, and best to you and the rest of the team at Cobalt.
All right, and thank you, Ken, and I hope that was adequate. We didn't go through some of the new products, but that's fine.
All right, well, you want to hit on one? How about one? Let's pick one. Give me a super.
Well, let's hit on the little BBG 1300. It's a 1 RU box. It's a third of a rack space wide, and it's basically for people just wants one of the encoder, decoder, or up-down cross converter, single box into a flight case, or where they don't want a 2 RU frame, they just want something single. You're not going to put DAs in it because it's not price competitive to that.
Right.
If you just want a throw-down box, front panel controls, it's got its own network card, it's got dual power supply, so you've got redundancy. It's just that's where that's where some of our top level products will be going into for, and that's come back from a request from lots of our customers.
Great. And when will it be shipping? Where is it shipping?
It'll be shipping in about the next month or two.
Great, excellent. Well, great. That's good. We've got a product in. That's good.
Okay.
Thanks. Great. Thanks, Chris, so much.
All the best, Kate. Stay healthy, everybody.
Great. Thanks. Bye.